My name is David, and I'm telling you about my sister, Laura Bennett, a woman whose life has been defined by courage, discipline, and an unyielding commitment to protecting those she loves. Laura is a colonel in the U.S. Army, one of the few women to command in Delta Force, with over 20 years of service in some of the world's most dangerous missions. Her daughter, Emily, a 19-year-old college student, was her pride and joy, a bright, kind young woman with her mother's strength and her late father's warmth. Emily's father, Marcus, was a black civil rights lawyer who died of cancer when she was 10. On a warm September evening in 2024, in a suburb outside Raleigh, North Carolina, Emily was gunned down by two police officers who mistook her for a suspect in a vague robbery call. The officers' actions, rooted in racial bias, shattered Laura's world. But what she did next, a calculated, relentless campaign for justice, stunned everyone, from the police department to the nation watching her story unfold. Laura and Emily lived in a quiet, diverse neighborhood in Cary, a place where families knew each other, and kids rode bikes down tree-lined streets. Laura, stationed at Fort Bragg, kept a low profile about her military career. To neighbors, she was just a single mom who coached Emily's soccer team years ago and helped organize block parties. Emily, a sophomore at NC State studying environmental science, was known for her volunteer work and her ability to light up a room. Her biracial heritage, Laura's fair skin and blue eyes, Marcus's deep brown complexion, gave her a striking presence, but it also made her a target in ways Laura had tried to prepare her for. That evening, Emily was driving home from a study group, her silver Honda Civic packed with textbooks and a gym bag. She was blocks from home when a patrol car's lights flashed behind her. Officers James Tucker and Ryan Phelps, both with the Cary Police Department, had received a call about a black female suspect in a robbery at a nearby convenience store. The description was vague: 20s, medium height, dark hair, and Emily, at 19, fit only the broadest strokes. Tucker and Phelps pulled her over, approached her car with hands on their holsters, and ordered her out. Emily complied, stepping out with her hands raised, her voice calm but confused. "Officers, what's this about?" she asked, following the rules Laura had drilled into her. "Stay polite, keep your hands visible, don't argue." Tucker, the senior officer, didn't answer. Instead, he shouted, "On the ground now." Emily hesitated, asking again what she'd done. Phelps, younger and more aggressive, drew his weapon, claiming later that Emily reached for something in her car. She hadn't. Witnesses, including a jogger and a neighbor in their yard, saw her hands stay up. But within seconds, Phelps fired 3 shots, and Tucker followed with 2. Emily collapsed, hit in the chest and abdomen. She died before paramedics arrived. Laura was at home, reviewing mission reports, when her phone rang. It was a neighbor, frantic. "Laura, you need to get to Elm Street." "It's Emily, police shot her." Laura's training kicked in. She grabbed her keys, called her commanding officer, and drove to the scene, her mind racing but focused. When she arrived, police tape blocked the street, and Emily's body was covered with a sheet. Laura pushed past the officers, her voice steady but shaking. "That's my daughter. What happened?" Tucker, still at the scene, claimed Emily had been non-compliant and reached for a weapon. Laura's eyes locked onto his. "My daughter doesn't carry weapons. Show me the body cam footage. Now." The officers exchanged glances. Phelps muttered something about the footage being under review. Laura, a woman who'd interrogated hostiles in war zones, didn't back down. "I'm Colonel Laura Bennett, U.S. Army. You will preserve that footage, and I want a supervisor here immediately." A sergeant arrived, but the answers were vague. Laura was told to wait for the investigation. She drove home, numb, and called me. "David," she said, her voice breaking for the first time. "They killed my baby." I drove to Cary that night, and we sat in her living room, surrounded by Emily's photos, planning what to do next. Laura wasn't just a grieving mother. She was a soldier, trained to strategize under pressure. She wasn't going to let this go. The next morning, Laura contacted her network, military lawyers, civil rights attorneys, and a former colleague now at the FBI. She filed a formal complaint with the Cary Police Department's Internal Affairs Division, demanding the officer's body cam footage, witness statements, and the 911 call logs. She also reached out to the local NAACP and community activists, sharing Emily's story and the videos neighbors had recorded, which showed her compliance and the officer's aggression. Laura didn't want this to be just about Emily. She wanted to expose the systemic bias that led to her death. Within days, the story hit the news. The headline, "Police Kill Biracial Teen, Mother Demands Justice," spread across local stations and social media. Protests erupted outside the police station, with hundreds chanting Emily's name. Laura spoke at the first rally, her military bearing unmistakable. "My daughter was no threat," she said, her voice clear over the megaphone. She was a student, a volunteer, a daughter. Officers Tucker and Phelps profiled her, and they killed her. "I'm not just fighting for Emily. I'm fighting for every child targeted by a broken system." The police department released a statement claiming the officers acted in fear for their safety. But the body cam footage, obtained through Laura's legal pressure, told a different story. It showed Emily stepping out of her car, hands raised, asking questions calmly. Phelps' claim of her reaching was baseless. She'd been holding her phone, which was later found on the ground, shattered. Witnesses confirmed she never moved toward the car. The 911 call about the robbery was equally flimsy. No suspect description beyond black female, with no mention of a vehicle or specific location. Laura's next move was strategic. She filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against Tucker, Phelps, and the department, alleging racial profiling and excessive force. She worked with her legal team to request a Department of Justice investigation into the Cary PD's patterns of bias, citing data showing disproportionate stops of Black and biracial residents. She also launched a foundation in Emily's name, focused on training communities to document police encounters and advocate for reform. Laura used her military connections to secure meetings with state lawmakers, pushing for mandatory de-escalation training and stricter rules on use of force. The community response was overwhelming. Neighbors organized vigils, and Emily's classmates at NC State created a scholarship fund in her memory. But not everyone was supportive. Some online commentators, hiding behind anonymity, called Emily a thug or questioned why she didn't just comply. Laura read every comment, her jaw tight, but she didn't lash out. Instead, she channeled her grief into action, meeting with families who'd lost loved ones to police violence, building a coalition that crossed racial and economic lines. The investigation into Tucker and Phelps moved swiftly, thanks to Laura's pressure and the public outcry. Both officers were suspended, then fired, after the body cam footage and witness accounts debunked their story. The DA charged them with second-degree murder, a rare move in police shooting cases. The trial is ongoing, but Laura's lawsuit has already prompted the city to settle for a significant sum, most of which she donated to Emily's foundation. Laura's military precision defined her response. She didn't scream or cry in public. She strategized, organized, and fought. At a town hall, she faced the police chief and city council, presenting data on racial disparities in policing. "This isn't just about my daughter," she said. "It's about a culture that lets officers act on bias without consequence. That ends now." Her words, delivered with the authority of a Delta Force commander, silenced the room. For me, watching Laura was both heartbreaking and inspiring. She'd faced death in combat, but losing Emily was a wound no training could prepare her for. Yet she didn't break. She honored Emily by fighting for others, by turning her grief into a force for change. The neighborhood now has a community watch program, not for policing but for protecting each other. Emily's foundation has trained hundreds in de-escalation and legal rights, and Laura's push for reform has led to new state laws on police accountability. Laura still carries Emily's memory every day. She keeps her daughter's soccer jersey on the mantle, next to Marcus's old law books. She's back at Fort Bragg, commanding her unit, but she's also a voice for justice, speaking at rallies and advising lawmakers. Tucker and Phelps will face their day in court, but Laura's fight is bigger than them. It's about a system that failed her daughter and countless others. And she's not done, not by a long shot.